I see I have a typo here. It should be object ID. So this is one of the problems when we are using key value pairs. Whenever you have a typo like this, and let's say you save something in your dictionary with a different key, and then you try to grab it using a different key, and they don't match, you are going to get an error, and it's going to crash your application. So the best way to do this is we're going to use constants that are going to replace these texts, so we don't have to type them every time. So in order to do that, let's go to our helpers folder, and we're going to create a new Swift file and call this constants. And here I'm going to create some constants. This is going to be for my category, so I'm going to put a category, and let's create a public let, and then I'm going to have k name is equals, and I'm going to call this name, public let k, and then I'm going to use image name, and this is going to be equals to image name. Then we have public let k, and we need an object ID, and this is going to be equals to object ID. And also let's create some headers. So I'm going to put these Firebase headers. So this is going to be our folder names that we are going to have in our database here. So the main folders, and this is also the same thing as user, category, items, and basket. So let's just copy one of these. I'm going to paste it 4 times, and it's going to be first k user path, and it's going to be just user. Then I have k category path, and this is going to be category. And next is going to be our items. Let's call these items. And finally is going to be our baskets. Okay. This will be our basket. And pay attention, these headers, I am using capital letters, the first one. And whenever we have a small keys inside our dictionaries, I'm all starting with small letter and using camel case here. So this way we will understand which one is a main folder and which one is just a key. So I'm going to command B to build my project, so everything we just wrote will be inside our file. And then we can move to our category.swift file and write some code that will allow us to save our categories to Firebase and to retrieve them from our Firebase later on. So once we close our bracket for our cluster, I'm going to put a mark here, and I'm going to call this save category functions, and we're going to write a func save category to Firebase. Okay, and this is going to take a category, and this is going to be type of category. Okay, let's just put under slash here so we don't have to type the name. Okay, so what we need to do in order to save a category. First, when we initialize our category, remember we have no ID, we set it as an empty string. So we need some kind of unique ID for our category. The way we are going to get it is simply accessing UUID from Swift. So we say let ID is equals to UUID, and then we are going to initialize it and get a UUID string value. Basically what UUID is a unique ID for our current application. So it will generate a random number which will be unique for the application. So it's not going to be repeating itself. Then I'm going to access my category here and set the value of ID to be equals to our new ID that we just created. And once we have set our ID, what we can do is now to access our Firestore reference and to save our category. So if I say Firebase reference, and now I'm just going to say which reference I need, and I need to save a category. So I will say dot category, and then I'm going to create a document. So we say document with path, and my document path, I want to use my ID of my file as the name of my document. So I'm going to put here ID, and now we are going to call set data, and the data we are going to set is going to be a dictionary. So it's going to be a string, value, pairs, as you can see here. But currently we have a category which is just an object of category. So we need a way to convert this into a dictionary. So that's why we're going to write another function. So let's put a mark here, call this helpers, and our function here, func, and I'm going to say category from category dictionary from, and we're going to pass a category here, which is a category, and this is going to return an NS dictionary so that we can save this to our Firebase. So now I can say set data, and my data is going to be, I'm calling this function, and I'm going to pass my category here so that it takes this category, converts it to a NS dictionary, and returns it. Just the only thing we need to specify that this is a string any dictionary. So basically you can click on the fix button here and it will take care of the rest. We're specifying that whatever this NS dictionary is, it has a key as a string, and value can be anything. Currently we have only string values, but we need to specify that it can be any value. Okay, this function is done. Here it's complaining that we promised to return an NS dictionary and we are not returning anything. So let's say return, and I'm going to create an NS dictionary with objects, and remember to use the plural, objects and keys. So we provide an array of anything, which is our values, and keys will be NS copying protocol, which will be our keys. So the objects are going to be, let's hit enter on it, and instead of any, I'm going to say category dot ID, comma category dot name, comma category dot image name. Okay, and we're not saving, of course, the image itself, because the image is going to be locally, so we don't have to save it there. We just save the name, and then the keys, we can hit enter, and I'm going to keep an copying protocol here, and I'm going to say the ID, we're going to call our k object ID as NS copying, and let's copy this part here. So then I'm going to provide the key for a category name, which is going to be k name as NS copying, and finally k image name as ns copying. So this will create a dictionary and return everything as from our category. So let's just quickly move up here and replace our hard-coded object name to be k object name. Object, this was the id, k id. The name is going to be k name, and the image name is going to be k image name with one n there. Okay, so these are all the things we have to do in order to save a category. So this file will save it to Firebase, and this file will convert it into a dictionary so we can save it. So what we need to do is now to create some categories for ourselves. So what we're going to do is to write one code that will be only used once. We just run our application once. We use this code to save all these categories in our Firebase, and then we're just going to download them and show to our user. So I'm going to write a func. Let me just put a note here. Use only one time. Okay, and this is going to be called create category set. This function doesn't take or return anything. So what I want to create is all the categories that we have seen, like women clothing, footwear, electronics, men's clothing, health and beauty, etc. So we are going to create all these categories. I'm going to type one and then just copy paste the rest so we can move on fast. So this is going to be initialize a category, and this our initializer comes in where we specified the name, and the name is going to be women's clothing and accessories. And then the image name is going to be woman cloth. All right, the rest I'm going to copy paste. So basically we are creating one category for each that we want to create. We have a footwear, we have electronics, we have men clothing, health, baby, home, car, luggage, jewelry, hobby, pet industry, garden, and camera. And now we are going to create an array of all these objects that we want to save. So I'm going to say let array of categories, and this is going to be equals, and it is an array of all these names here. So we say woman clothing, comma, footwear, comma, electronics, comma, men clothing, comma, health, comma, baby, comma, home, comma, car, comma, luggage, comma, jewelry, hobby, pet, comma, industry, garden, and finally camera. So we have an array of all these categories in it, and now we can just go over this array, take every category and call a save on it. So we say for category in array of categories, we're going to say save category to Firebase, and I'm just going to pass my category here. So this way, by calling this function, it will create all the categories that we want for our project. So what I need to do here is to go to my category view controller, and in my view did load, I'm going to add one line, which is called, let's command P, so our function available here. So I create category set. And let me just quickly jump to see if I have any typos. Command P to make everything build. And the build was successful. So if I go to my Firebase here, I don't see anything for now. And if I run my application, my view did load function should be called, and this function will be called in it. And if we come and refresh here, we should see a section of category which was created, and inside we should see some categories. Let it load. Okay, as you can see, let me just close the side panel here. These unique IDs that we had, it created one document for each category with its unique ID, and then they have the names. For example, the first one is men clothing. It has its object ID, image name, and the name. Then we have like camera and optics, and it has its object ID, and etc. So we have all our categories created in our Firebase. So I'm going to get rid of this code from our view did load, and let's go to our category. So this function here will no longer be necessary. This we just run once. Now everything is saved in our Firestore, and we need to write one function that is going to retrieve everything from our Firestore. And because right now, if you go to our Firestore, you will see that this is just a JSON code key value pairs, and we're going to use our initializer of our dictionary in order to get everything from Firebase and create a category from it.